The third level is a story about 31-year-old man named Charlie. Besides, this is a psychological story that refers to the subway at the Grand Central Railway stations, which takes passengers to Galesburg. In addition, this subway becomes the interconnection between the narrator's harsh reality and fantasy. So you know what is subway? That is an underground construction which helps the passengers to cross the road. So two points to which the subway is connecting the passengers, that is already mentioned, right? Moreover, the third level was a way of escape for Charlie, as life in the modern world is full of uncertainties, worries and stress. It takes Charlie to a different world that his friend also calls a walking dream wish fulfillment. So in his imagination, in his fantasy, he takes this subway as a way to escape from the life, right? Further, the story is about Charlie's tendency to escape from the world. Most importantly, the third level starts because of Sam's letter written on 18th July 1984. This story shows the connection between time and space also. In New York, the Grand Central Station has two levels. Nonetheless, Charlie, a 31-year-old city resident, talks that there exists a third level. So two levels are already there. One level on which the trains are traveling, one is subway, and third is his imaginary level, his fantasized level. Also, he claims that he has been there. To talk about this problem, he visits a psychiatrist's friend. He calls it a walking dream wish fulfillment and explains Charlie's psychology by saying that the modern world is full of fear, insecurity, war and worry. And everybody wants to escape to some temporary refuge from reality. As for him, hobbies like stamp collection is an indicator of this escape. So few of us, we simply switch over to our hobbies to escape from regular tensions and worries and insecurities that we are facing in day-to-day life. But for others, they have a fantasized world where they like to take a refuge, right? So similarly, it is happening in case of this main character of the story, Charlie. At times, the Grand Central Station seems like a maze to Charlie. While taking the subway earlier, he had lost his way a couple of times. One time he entered the lobby of Roosevelt Hotel, while the other time he appeared at an office building that was 3 blocks away. However, this time he loses his way and something unique occurs. Charlie visits the third level. He is lost in his imagination this time. In the silent hallway, Charlie keeps walking, turning left and sloping downward until he touches an architecturally old station which is totally different from two familiar levels. Moreover, this old small room with fewer ticket counters and train gates, a wooden information booth, wavering open flame gas lights and brass spittoons. So this is how this imaginary world looked to him, like an old railway station with a few counters and the other main spots which are mentioned over there. All this remind him of the architecture of 1800s. Further, he sees people in outdated outfits, so he is simply in fantasized old world, old era. When he noticed the date in the newspaper, the world he sees 11 June 1894. When he tries to buy 2 tickets, he realizes that he needs old currency. He always wanted to travel to Galesburg with his wife, Louisa. Back in his head, it is a wonderful town still, with big old frame houses, huge lawns, and tremendous trees. The place was pleasant and long summer dusk, and where people have ample of time. Hence, the next day, during lunch, he exchanges $300 for old currency amounting to some 200 only. In addition, the amount doesn't bother him as he believes that everything there will be cheaper. However, he could never again find the corridor that leads him to the third level. The other day, he simply got the currency exchange into the earlier currency. He wished to visit the place, but that day that corridor did not appear to him. He is not able to go. When his wife came to know about this, she asked him to stop looking. Unexpectedly, his friend Sam Winner also disappeared, and his wife keep on looking for him for in the weekends. Moreover, Sam was the one way whom Charlie shares his idea about Galesburg, because they both were so close and he's been discussing his fantasy with him. Charlie inherited the hobby of stamp collection from his grandfather, and someday, while looking at the stamp collection, Charlie finds a letter that was earlier not there. Also, he has the postmark on a faded 6-cent stamp with a picture of President Garfield. Further, the envelope read as 18 July 1894 to Charlie's grandfather in Galesburg, and it addresses to Charlie. So this is again a matter of surprise for him. In the letter, Sam tells Charlie that he has reached Galesburg and he invites Charlie and Louisa there. So he sends them the ticket, post-dated ones. After going to stamp and coin shop, he gets to know that Sam exchanged $800 for currency bills to establish his business in Galesburg. Besides, Sam was none other than Charlie's psychiatrist only, so he knew his psychological problem. He dealt with it in a very tricky manner. So what is conclusion of the summary of the lesson? Though the third level writer wants to escape from the modern world to peaceful and quiet old times, so this is his wish, his fantasy, which through his imagination he goes to the third level of the construction, that is Galesburg's in the earlier time, and this is how this story is constructed.